Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Project SOAR Fit. My name is Aron. I am the program coordinator for Project SOAR. I work for Access of Wilmington. Access of Wilmington provides adaptive sports and recreation for people with disabilities, and Project SOAR is specifically for veterans with disabilities. So welcome. I don't have anyone who logged on live for the Zoom class so far, which means you're probably joining me via YouTube. So welcome. If you've worked out with me before, great. You probably all have heard most of this, but just in case I have anybody who's new, what we do together in these fitness program or these fitness sessions is a full body adaptive functional workout. So we are going to work on all the aspects of physical fitness, including cardiovascular, endurance, strength, flexibility, and balance. Since I don't have anyone who's live, I won't be adjusting for somebody personally. But if you're doing this on YouTube and you don't see anything that works for you in the adaptions that I do show, just send me a message. You can call me, you can text me at the number that's in the description, or you can leave a message on the comments in the YouTube video, and I will try to make adaptions and things that work for you. Anyway, so because I've mentioned adaptions, what you will see, and I might do things a little bit differently today, is for each of our exercises, I'll show you a couple different versions. Some might be standing or on the mat, and some versions will be seated in a chair, which you see behind me. The chair doesn't have to be anything particularly special, but does need to be sturdy and not roll. So if you're exercising from a wheelchair, make sure you're able to lock your brakes so that you don't roll when you don't want to roll, for everyone's safety. And you also see the chair I chose doesn't have arms on the sides. I did that on purpose because that gives me a little more freedom to move around. So if you're exercising from a wheelchair and you have the ability to put your arms down, if you want to do that, that would be great. Or you may have to make that choice depending on which exercise you're doing. You may have to adjust back and forth. But again, if you're doing this on YouTube, you're able to hit that pause button and make any little adjustments and then come back in. We start with a little warm up. It's really recommended that if you can get a chance to do warming up before you log on, that would be great, especially when we have weather like today that actually cleared up so you can go outside and maybe go for a walk or a run or a bike ride or whatever enjoyment you get. Well, feel free to just do whatever gets your heart pumping, gets your blood moving a little bit, your joints warmed up. But if you didn't get a chance to do that, don't worry about it. We usually just do a little 2 minutes of movement. I like to mix it up and do a few different things just so we don't get bored, but just 2 minutes to get moving. And then a couple more minutes to do some dynamic stretching. That's the word I'm looking for. So we'll move a little bit more again to warm up our joints, kind of get in a little assessment before we get started so that you can see how you're feeling today. So you can decide whether you want to, level up, level down, like how you want this workout to go for you, because you're really the one in charge. I've come up with some ideas and things we can do together, but really this workout is all about you and what your goals are and how you feel on this given day. I mentioned that it's functional. So functional in terms of your everyday life and being able to do the things that you enjoy, keep up with your kids or grandkids or your pets, but it can also be so that you can get fit to do other activities that you enjoy. Like we were doing these fitness sessions to get people ready for the ski trip we did a couple weeks ago. This weekend, I've got several more veterans that are coming on the climbing trips. So some of the things that we're doing are specific to really help people get ready to climb, although they also help with everyday things as well. And also all the other activities that we do together. We're starting to see nice warm spring weather. So we're going to be out kayaking and surfing and scuba diving and things like that. So all those different things that we enjoy doing, we want to make sure that we're fit enough to enjoy them and to not be too incredibly sore after we enjoy them so that we can enjoy them again. So I hope that this helps you accomplish your goals. And again, if you feel like you have some questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me. We'll get started in just a moment. Like I said, today I think I want to do things just a little bit differently. Usually we don't need anything other than just a space about the size of a yoga mat or a chair if you want to use a chair. I'm going to show you some other things that if you have around the house would be great for today's session. If you have some small hand weights, that would be fantastic. If you don't worry about it. There is one exercise in particular where we are going to be trying to hold on to something with a little bit of weight to it with just our fingertips. And again, I mentioned that we're going to be going climbing. So this is something that's really good to strengthen people's hands and forearms for climbing. But if you don't have this or you're not going climbing and don't want to, it's not that big of a deal. If you don't have weights, but you want to have something heavy to do that exercise, you could have something as simple as a couple of bottles of water or soda that you can hold on to, or even, a couple heavy books. So feel free to grab something. And if you don't have anything that you could use, don't worry about it. You can make a tight fist, maybe even squeeze those fingertips together to get that same sensation to do this exercise. Let's see. So I'm going to do a quick overview of the 8 exercises we're going to do. So the way that we do this is we do 8 exercises and we do 3 rounds. And each time we do an exercise, we have a minute. I do 50 seconds of the work and then 10 seconds to transition to the next exercise. If you need a different ratio, you can change that ratio. You can keep it a minute, but instead of doing 50-10, you can do 40-20 or 30-30, whatever feels best for you. So today, the first exercise is going to be squats. So I'm going to do a wide leg squat. You could join me for that. You could do a simple squat. If you wanted to have weight, again, you could hold on to weight in your hand. If you wanted it to be a little bit more energetic, you could do a little hop. And if you're seated in a chair, instead of doing a squat movement, you could do a heel raise as an alternative. So that's what we can do for that first exercise. The second and third exercise is the same. We're just doing one on each leg, and that is a one leg squat. So if you need something for balance, you'd be able to use like a chair or the wall or something. But let's start with the left leg. And I'm going to bring my right leg out in front and bend my left knee into a one leg squat. And this is tough, I'm not joking. Back up again and then squat down. But there's alternatives here too, because you could leave your toe just for a little more steadiness, but still drive through that left heel as you squat down and up and try to keep as much weight off of those right toes as possible. And another option, if you are seated in the chair, you're going to slide that left leg out and back, out and back. And you can either keep your foot on the ground or you could lift the foot up and flex the toes. And then we're going to do the same thing on the right. So I'm not going to show that because it's just the same thing. You're just on the other side. And then that farmer carry I mentioned. So I'm going to show you that you can do this. Again, I'm trying to hold on to the weight with just the tips of my fingers. And then I'm going to do a walk, turn around, and walk. So if you're seated, you can still use that weight if you want. If not, you can squeeze those fingertips together and we're going to tilt from side to side. So a little bit of a core workout here, some oblique action. All right. The fifth exercise that we're going to do is tricep dips. I'm going to kind of tilt my chair where you can get a better look. So I like to use my chair. You can either extend your legs out straight and dip down, or you can bend your knees and dip down. If you don't have a chair, you do the same thing on the floor. knees bent, legs extended. And if you're seated in your chair and you're not going to hover off the end of it like that, you could take your arms, and I'm going to tilt again so you can see this. And we're going to do a tricep kickback. So the elbows are squeezed in just behind your ribs, and you're squeezing the arms back and extending. And again, if you wanted to add weight, you could curl a weight in your hands and add a little extra resistance. For this one, I'm going to show you using an exercise band. If you don't have these, don't worry about it. You don't need one. But if you do want exercise bands to enhance resistance on these workouts, just send me a message and I can get some to you. So I'm going to curl my hands, palms up, and then pull them apart. So this is an external shoulder rotation. You could do this standing or seated. If you don't want to use resistance, it would look just like this. And if you wanted to put weights in your hands instead of an exercise band, you could do that as well. The seventh workout or second exercise, we're going to make sort of cactus arms. So our elbows are as high as our shoulders, our palms are facing forward, and then we're going to rotate through the shoulder, palms face down, and then rotate back up again. And that can be either with your hands open, or if you wanted to put hand weights in, you could do this with additional weight. And then the final exercise that we'll do out of our 8 exercises, I'll show you the chair option. So we're crossing the body. We want to try to balance while we're using our left leg and our right arm. So you'd slide the left foot out, reach the right arm up, and then come back. And then we're going to switch sides. So if you're seated, that is what that would look like. If you want to do this on the floor, it would look like this. Starting from a tabletop position with a flat back, pulling the belly in, we're extending the left arm and the right leg, coming back down, switching sides. So the movement is very similar, just a different orientation. So those are the 8 exercises we're doing today. Before we get started on that, let's start with our warm-up. I am going to start my smartwatch so that we can track, or I can track my data. If you have a smartwatch, you could use it too. I love tracking all the data stuff. And let's go ahead and begin. So we'll start with that 2-minute warm-up. I'm going to start with a jog. Let's go. Again, if you don't want to do this high intensity or this high impact jog, you could keep this as a march. And if you're on a chair and working out, you could either march seated or you could punch it out. So different things you can do. I'm going to go back to that jog. I'm feeling pretty energetic today. All right, that was 30 seconds. Let's switch to another exercise or not. I'm going to switch to jumping jacks. So you can do traditional jumping jacks like I am. You could do seal jacks if you want to keep your shoulders a little lower. And again, you could do this with a low intensity, and it would look very similar seated. So whatever works best for you. We're almost done with this 30 seconds. All right, that 30 seconds is up. Feel free to switch exercises or repeat. You could jump rope if you want. I'm actually going to punch it out. And you can punch it out either from seated or from standing. And go ahead and let your torso rotate a little bit here. I think I just had somebody log on. Hi, Marla.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and mute you just so that we don't have an echo, okay?
Okay, yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out, how to do that.
All right, and from here, go ahead and keep moving for another 30 seconds. How about you? Here we go. You could do a rotation if you wanted. Oh, I think we're up with our 2 minutes. So whatever 4 exercises you did, just keep moving to get your blood pumping. And then we're going to move on and do some warm up dynamic stretching. So I know we're going to do squats as part of our workout today, but let's do some squats to kind of check in with how our joints feel. So these are just slow. Maybe start with your feet about touching or really close together. And then we'll bend the knees, lower the hips. You can even squeeze the thighs together and then press through the heels and come up. So again, this is really just kind of checking in. We're not necessarily trying to get our heart rate up anymore. If you're seated, we can still do a heel raise for these. Just bring your feet closer together. And after about 5, let's change the angle a little bit. Maybe take the feet out about hips distance. Same thing, either squatting or doing those heel raises if you're working out from a seated position. And then final set of these warm-up squats. Let's take the feet out. So the heels are wider than the shoulders, the toes are wider than the heels. Same thing. Noticing our ankles, our feet, our knees, our hips, seeing if we can keep our shoulders right over the hips so the chest is lifted. One more. All right. And then we're going to work a little bit more on that hip joint with some movements here. And I've shown this on the floor. I've shown this seated. Today I'll show you standing. I like to just mix it up. So I'm going to use my chair for a little bit of balance here. I'm not going to put all my weight on it. It's just there to catch me in case I get a little bit wobbly. So that inside foot is balancing, and I'm going to pick up the outside knee and then bring it out to the side and then down and then back around. So I'm making a circle through that hip joint. Your circle might be a little bigger, a little smaller. That's okay. Just again, checking in with what your range of motion feels like. After you do about 5, switch direction. And then after that 5th one, let's keep that leg out in front. Go ahead and extend it. And then make sure you have enough room. I'm going to move forward a little bit. Kick back, squeezing the glute, and then kick forward. So we're kicking forward and back through that hip joint. And then after about 5 of those, we're going to leave that foot in front and move the leg side to side to get a different movement through that hip joint. And I think that's about 5. So we'll put that foot down and we're going to switch. So I'm just going to bring this chair over to the other side. We'll do the same thing here. Picking up that knee, opening it up and bringing it around, making a circle through that hip joint. And then switching directions. And then let's extend that leg and kick back and forward. Oop, I didn't give myself enough space. I'm kicking my wall. And then after the 5th one, let's go side to side. Great job. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of movement around our spine and get our spine warmed up a little bit. So I'm going to come into a side bend, reaching my right arm over my head. And again, you could do this standing or seated. And then once we're in that side bend, let's bring that right hand behind the head. Inhale, open the chest to the ceiling. So there's just a little rotation through the trunk. And then exhale, turn the chest down towards the ground. And we'll do that 5 times. I think that was 5. So let's come back up to center and we'll do the other side. So little side bend to start, and then bring that hand behind the head. Inhale to turn towards the ceiling. Exhale, rotate through the trunk of the body down towards the earth. And we'll do 5 of those. Great job. Let's come out of that. And let's make a little movement through our shoulders and our neck to warm up. Again, this can be seated or standing. We'll shrug the shoulders up to the ears, draw the shoulder blades together, really open up the front of the chest, and then pull those shoulder blades down. So we're sort of making a circle right through that shoulder joint. You can keep your hands relaxed at your sides, or you could bring your hands to your shoulders. You could even extend your hands all the way out and make big circles with your fingertips. Feel free to pick whichever one you like, or kind of do a mix like I did. And then let's switch directions. Same thing, you can pick one or you can do a combo. We're going to be doing a lot of work with our shoulders today, so it's really good to get them warmed up before we get started with that workout. Let's do one more thing and think about the muscles around our neck and the tops of our shoulders, and let our right ear, just let gravity sort of pull it down towards the right shoulder. We don't even have to use any extra tension. And then notice what the other side of the neck feels like, maybe down into the shoulder, maybe even up into the back of the head. And you can keep your gaze forward, or again, if you want to have a little rotation here through the cervical spine, you could turn your chin down towards the floor and then up towards the ceiling, just to get a little rotation there. And notice if there's any different sensations going on there. You might find one part of that rotation where you're getting a nice opening. So if that's the case, feel free to stay wherever that is and take a couple breaths. Allow some space to form, and then you can keep moving. And then let's bring our chin down towards the chest and then go to the other side. We'll do the same thing. You can stay still, or you can explore that a little bit by tilting the chin down and up. And if you do that exploration, you may even notice that it feels different on this side. Maybe there's a different place that feels like a good opening, or you may notice one side is stiffer or easier than the other. That's perfectly normal. Most of us have one side that gets a little bit tighter than the other. And then chin to chest. And then let's look up. If you feel like there's anything else you need to do to get warmed up or stretched out before we start moving, feel free to do that now. I'm going to get us started in just a few seconds. Like I said, we're going to start with those squats. Sometimes I may model the workout standing, and sometimes I may show the seated version. Feel free to do whichever version works best for you this round. Like I said, we're going to do 3 rounds. There'll be a 1 minute rest between each round, so feel free to make sure you have some water nearby, things like that. But let's go ahead and get started. We'll start in 10 seconds with those squats. And I'm actually going to add a little weight. Like I said, I'm feeling pretty good today.
Let's go.
And let's go. Remember, if you wanted this to be more of a plyometric move, you could add a little hop in here. I decided I wanted to add weight rather than that plyometric move.
Halfway there.
We're halfway through. And remember also, if you are working out seated, you can do heel lifts here. And if that doesn't work for you, like I said, just give me a call, send me a message, and we'll figure out what the best option is for you if squats or
10
heel lifts
seconds.
don't work. All right, almost done with this round or with these squats. And then we're gonna move on to those one-legged squats.
Rest.
All right, we've got 10 seconds to get ready for a one-legged squat. I'm gonna use my chair again just for a little balance. I'm gonna put my weight in my left foot, pick up my right leg, and I'm gonna squat through that left knee. Remember, if this doesn't work for you, you could bring those toes down just to help with your balance. Just try to keep as much weight on that left leg as you can and just use those right toes to help you balance.
Halfway there.
We're halfway through these. Really try to drive down through that left heel as you come up. That's going to activate those glute muscles and those thigh muscles. This is really challenging for balance. I said we'd get into some balance stuff today. This is one of them.
Rest.
And then we're switching to the other side.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Halfway there.
All right, we're halfway through these. I can already feel this. These one-legged squats are no joke. Remember, you have options. You can put
10
that left
seconds.
toe down if you wanted.
Rest.
All right, next is that farmer carry. Or if you've ever had to do the ammo box carry, this is really similar to that. I'm actually going to use weights, but if you don't have weights, remember you can use some heavy books or some full water bottles. Or if you don't have any weight to squeeze between your fingertips, you can squeeze your fingertips against each other. You don't have to have any weight. And we're just walking. I don't have a very big space to walk in. I could walk towards the camera and back just to change that. Hello there.
Halfway there.
But the important thing is trying to use the very tips of our fingers to hold on to whatever weight we are using, if we're using any.
10 seconds.
So try to build that hand strength and forearm strength, which comes in handy, even if you're not going climbing, but especially if you're going climbing with us.
Rest.
All right. Next is tricep dips. I'm going to do mine on my chair. You can do it on the floor, or you can do those tricep kickbacks. And let's go.
Halfway there.
We're halfway there. And again, these are tough. 50 seconds can be really long.
10 seconds.
So if you need to take a break and then come back in, you're welcome to do that.
Rest.
All right, we got 10 seconds before we do those shoulder extension rotations. So I'm going to use a exercise band, but you don't have to. Palms are up. We're about shoulder height, and let's go. We're pulling the hands apart. And while we're doing that, let's think about squeezing our shoulder blades together. So I'm going to back up a little. You could also use weights in your hands if you wanted. But for this one, I really like that resistance pulling away from the center.
10 seconds.
But even without any weight, squeezing those shoulder blades together and then coming back to center is going to be a really
Rest.
good rotation in that shoulder joint. And we're going to hit that shoulder joint again with these rotations. So hands are like cactus arms, elbows are at shoulder height, and then we're going to rotate the palms in line with the elbows down and then back up. That's the movement. You can do this standing or seated. See if you can keep your shoulders right over your hips. Keep drawing in on that belly button. That core strength is keeping us stable
Halfway there.
so that this movement is coming just through that rotation in the shoulder. You don't have to move anything else.
Ten seconds.
10 more seconds, and then we do our 8th and final exercise, and then we get 60 seconds to rest before we repeat it.
Rest.
All right, I'm gonna do this from that tabletop position. Maybe next round I'll show some more of the chair stuff again. All right, so I'm reaching out left hand and right leg, trying to get everything in line with the back, and then come back down, and then switch sides, right arm, left leg. So reaching through the fingertips, pointing through the toe, and coming back down. Don't worry about trying to do these super fast. See if you can slow this down and do it with control and try to keep yourself from rocking. So this is really about balancing. And to do that, we're going to have to use strength in pretty much the whole body, the shoulder, the glute, the abdominal muscles, the back muscles, everything's working.
Rest.
All right, we have 60 seconds. Feel free to get some water or stretch a little bit. I'm probably going to show some more of the chair options this round. So if you want to continue doing the other options, feel free to. I just want to be able to model both for everybody. Or if you want to try some of the chair ones, you're welcome to. We'll start again in about 30 seconds. All right, and about 15 seconds we'll get started. So go ahead and get ready for your squats. If you're following me in the chair, we're gonna take our feet wide, toes a little wider than heels. So that's kind of the same as our squats. I've moved out to sort of the end of the chair so that I have room to move, and I'm gonna come up on the balls of my feet and then lower the heels. So that's the move. Coming up and then down. And again, feel free to repeat any of those variations of squats that you did last round if you did a different option. I just want to make sure everybody
Halfway there.
is able to see a version of what they're going to do.
Ten seconds.
10 more seconds.
Rest.
All right, our next exercise is that one-legged squat. We'll start with the left leg. I'm gonna bring my feet in. If you're doing the workout from the chair, we're gonna slide that left foot forward and then bring it back. You can keep your foot on the ground and slide your heel, or you can lift that leg and do a leg extension. I'm actually gonna do a leg extension here. I think in the past when we've done these, we've alternated side to side. Doing this all on one side is definitely challenging. I can feel that muscle getting a little bit burned out. So I know this is working.
Ten seconds.
10 more seconds on this side. Remember, we're still staying steady, still staying engaged in our core That's how we stay balanced. We got 10 seconds. We're going to switch to the other side. So again, either one-legged squats or these leg slides or extensions if you're seated.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Halfway there.
All right. Feeling that burn again. I know these are working.
Ten seconds.
10 more seconds.
Rest.
All right, next is that farmer carry. So if you are standing, remember you can walk around holding onto something heavy or squeezing your fingertips together. Since I'm doing the seated version this round, I'm going to tilt side to side, but I still have those weights in my fingertips. So in addition to this oblique workout that I'm getting, I am also strengthening that grip, which is going to pay off when I go climbing, hopefully. Maybe I'll be able to actually open my own water bottles now instead of asking for help. One could hope.
10 seconds. Rest.
All right, chance to rest here as you transition to tricep dips. I'm going to turn myself here. I'm not going to do dips this time. I'm just going to show that variation. I'm tilting forward just a little bit, still pulling in on my belly. We've all started now, by the way. And I'm going to do tricep extensions. So I'm doing this with weights because I already had them. But if you wanted to do this without weights, I promise you, you're still going to feel that burn in your triceps and the back of your arms as you extend out. You're keeping your elbows steady. So the elbows aren't moving. The elbows are staying anchored where you have them. And that movement is coming from curling your fist towards your biceps and then extending back
10
out.
seconds.
And as you extend out, really squeeze the back of the arms, those tricep muscles.
Rest.
All right, we're going to transition to those shoulder extensions. I'm going to get my band again, and I'm going to stay seated to show you, you can do the same thing seated that we did standing. Our hands are palms up, they're at shoulder height, and as we pull them apart, we're going to squeeze our shoulder blades together. So even if you don't have any resistance from a band or any weights, that's fine. Use your body's own resistance.
Ten seconds.
10 more seconds.
Rest.
Great job. Next, we're going to make those cactus arms. So our shoulders come out to the side. I'm sorry, our elbows come out to the side at shoulder height. Hands face forward. And then we rotate through the shoulders, palms face down, still right at line with those elbows. That's the movement. It's exactly what I did before. I'm just seated now. That's the only difference. And if you wanted to add resistance, you could. I don't think I'd be able to do this the whole 50 seconds. These are feeling pretty heavy with that movement. But you can make your own decision. I think with me rehabbing that shoulder, I don't want to overtax it. So I'm going to come back and use my body's own resistance. I'm still drawing those shoulder blades
10
together.
seconds.
I'm dropping the tops of my shoulders down away from my ears. So if they've crept up to your ears, see if you can intentionally drop them down. Excellent. Very last exercise this round, that alternating tabletop with limb balancing. I showed you that last round. I'm going to show you what this looks like from the chair again. I'm lifting an arm, I'm lifting the opposite leg and down. Same thing on this side. Again, I'm extending my foot off the ground. But if you want to make the choice to slide the heel out and keep it in contact with the ground, that works too.
Halfway there.
Our core strength is really important no matter which orientation our body's in. We want to pull that navel back in towards the spine.
Rest.
Great job, everyone. We have 60 seconds to rest, and we're going to do our third and final round, and then we get a chance to cool down and stretch together. Feel free to get some water. And we'll get started in about 40 seconds. Ten more seconds. I'm going to do squats again. So I'm going to come back onto my feet. Let's get going.
Let's go.
Again, I'm using one little weight, kind of holding it like a goblet. You don't have to use weight if you don't want to, or if you wanted to add that plyometric jump, you could do a little squat jump.
Halfway there.
We're halfway through these squats. This is the last set of squats we have to do together today. Really think about squeezing those glutes, pressing through the heels as you come up.
Rest.
All right, we're going to move on to those one-legged squats. I'm going to do my left leg first. Remember, you can extend that right leg in front of you, or you can keep the toes there. Let's go. I don't know about you, but my left knee, as I move in and out of this one-legged squat, is doing all sorts of snap, crackle, pop. Right now, that isn't hurting too bad. If it was hurting, I would make a different choice.
Halfway there.
I may feel that later, though. I go a little
10
too deep, it
seconds.
hurts. So I'm going to keep these kind of shallow.
Rest.
And we'll switch sides.
Let's go.
And same thing on this side. Going a little more stable on this side.
Halfway there.
I was.
Ten seconds.
10 more seconds.
Rest.
All right, next is going to be those farmer carries. So like that ammo box carry. I'm going to squeeze weights between my fingertips.
Let's go.
And I'm just gonna walk around, walk forward and back. Like I said, if you wanted to stay seated and do more of an oblique crunch side to side, you can. If you don't have hand weights, but you wanted to add some resistance, like I said, just anything you can sort of squeeze between your fingertips. Heavy books, couple bottles of water. If you have weight plates, you could use that. But try to hold on just to the edges and not try to use
10 seconds.
the lip. So really trying to make it be so that you're holding onto the weights with just your fingertips.
Rest.
All right, next is those tricep dips or tricep extensions. And last time I did that seated in the chair, I'm just gonna again show you that you can do tricep dips on the ground. So if you didn't have a chair nearby and you're still wanting to do a tricep dip, you can. And trust me, you will still feel it. My triceps are probably going to be a little sore tomorrow.
Halfway there. Ten seconds.
10 more seconds, and then I don't have to do any more of these today. I'm happy about that.
Rest.
All right, 3 more exercises. First, we're going to do those pull aparts with our shoulders. I'm going to come back down to my seat.
Let's go.
And let's go. Really pull those shoulder blades together as you move your arms from right in front of you out to the sides.
Halfway there. Ten seconds. Rest.
All right, one more shoulder exercise. Again, you can come up to your feet if you want. I'm going to stay seated. Make those arms like cactus arms. Pull those shoulder blades together, draw the navel in, and let's rotate through those shoulder joints. If you wanted to add weight here, you could. I'm not going to. Remember, this isn't about how fast we can go. We're really trying to hold our body steady as we rotate through this joint.
Halfway there.
So this is really using our attention and focus to move through that shoulder joint and
10
rotate
seconds.
at the same time that we're holding our body steady. So we're still getting a full body workout, even though the focus is on our shoulders. Final exercise, we're going to do those alternating limb balancing. I'm going to come back to that tabletop position this round.
Last round.
So left leg, right arm, and lower back down, and then we switch. Go your own pace. See if you can use that core strength to stay stable and balanced. Try to avoid rocking from side to side as you're switching as much as you can.
Halfway there. Ten seconds.
Almost done here.
Well done.
That's it. We're all done with the workout. We'll start cooling down and stretching officially in just a couple seconds. But feel free to do any stretching that feels good to you in the meantime. If you need to get a drink of water, get a drink of water. We'll start with some ankle stretches. I've showed us a couple different ways to do this. I'm going to come back to using a step in this case. Since I don't have a step in my room, I'm going to use yoga blocks as a step. If you have an actual step, you could use that. So if you're going to start stretching with me, let's start with that ankle stretch. And remember, if you don't have something that you can use as a step, you can ground down your heel and pull the ball of your foot back to get that same stretch. You could do that either standing. You could use the ball of your foot against the wall to do that. You could use a strap on the ball of your foot and use some resistance to pull back. Lots of ways to do this kind of ankle calf stretch. I'm going to show you using a step today. So I'm actually letting my weight drop through my heels. And that is throwing me off balance. If I were on a step, I think it would be a little more stable. But since my yoga blocks want to tilt back with me, it's a little unsteady. So I'm going to use the back of my chair so that I don't fall off. And I'm just letting gravity pull my heels down. I'm still putting some weight in the balls of my feet so that I can stay balanced. So this is a nice stretch for my ankles. And then also for my calves. I'm going to stay here for a couple more breaths and then we'll move on to another stretch. Actually, my calves are so tight, I want to stay here all day. This feels really good, but I'm going to come out of it and we're going to move on to another stretch. Let's do some seated splits. So again, you could do that seated on your chair. I think this time I'm going to show you from down on the floor. So you don't have to do like the biggest splits that you can possibly do. If you can get your ankles a little wider than your shoulders, that would be great, just to change the angle in the hips. And this always feels a little awkward for me. I feel like I round my back. So just so that I'm not rounding my back, I'm going to move my seat up onto that yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block and you're having that same little issue that I was, you could put a pillow or a rolled up towel or blanket there just to change the height of your seat. And now I can sit up straight and my legs can be extended. Don't worry if your knees are bent. In fact, I don't want anyone to lock out their knees. So at least try to bend them a tiny bit so they're not locked out. And if you find your legs have kind of fallen open where the toes kind of splay out, see if you can rotate through the hip joint so that your knees and toes are pointing up. So right now we have our legs extended without locking out, but really what's most important is we want our spine to be long. So we want to root down through our sits bones. We want to pull the belly button back towards the spine, and we want to lengthen the top of the head right up towards the sky. And then if you want, you can start to hinge through the hips into a fold. Now with your legs extended like this and your spine long, you may not go super far. So resist the urge to round your back to get deeper. See if you can make it all about moving through that hip joint. So you can put your hands on your legs, you can put them on the floor. See if you can lead with the chest open and the shoulder blades drawing back, spine nice and long. See what happens if you pull your belly even firmer back towards your spine. Does that allow you to fold a little deeper? Don't forget to breathe. Let's take one more breath. And then come back up. Now we can let those legs fall open and let the soles of the feet come towards each other. So we're making sort of a loose diamond shape. I'm going to come off my block now. So now the knees open up. We're still sitting up tall, and we're still going to hinge through the hips as we fold forward. You can have your hands on your legs or your feet. But see if you can let all that forward movement come from drawing the navel in rather than trying to pull yourself forward. And then on your next inhale, make your way back up to seated. Let's go ahead and stretch through our chest a little bit. I'm going to come back onto my feet for this. You could also do this seated. I think I showed that last week. I'll do it standing again today. But we'll come back into that cactus arm on one arm. I'll start with my left. And then bring that arm right at shoulder height, elbow at shoulder height, against the wall, and then use a little tension as you turn your body away. So we're getting a stretch in the front of that left shoulder and through the chest, especially that left pec. And you would essentially do the same thing if you were seated, rotating the upper body away from that anchored forearm and elbow. Let's do another breath here, and then we'll come back to center, we'll switch. So now I'm gonna do the right side. And then release. We'll do another stretch across the front of the body. You can take your hands behind you. You can either interlace the fingers or you can grab your wrists or forearms. Or if you have an old belt or a yoga strap, you could use that to make that connection. Whatever allows you to draw the shoulder blades together and open through the chest. You can even add a little bit of a back bend here if you want. One more breath, and then let's release. And then the final thing we'll do together is a little bit of a stretch through our wrists. So we can bring palms together and rotate the wrists away. So you bring the backs of the hands together and then back. So we're kind of going in circles, rotating through the wrists, and then we can reverse it. And then I'm gonna use my right hand to stretch that left forearm and palm. And then I'm gonna switch the direction that I'm stretching. So now I'm getting the back of the hand and the top of the wrist. And then same thing on the other side. And then you can shake it out, take a deep breath, let it go. That is all I have planned for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back on Wednesday. And let's see, I'm gonna unmute Marla. Marla, you doing all right?
Yeah, it's been a great workout. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining me. I am going to stop the recording. Let me see.
Yes, ma'am.
That.